In the vein of movies like the Indiana Jones series, The Da Vinci Code, National Treasure, we've got Guy Ritchie's latest, and it's streaming on Apple TV Plus. Let's talk about Fountain of Youth. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new film Fountain of Youth, starring John Krasinski and Natalie Portman as estranged siblings. And this is directed, like I said, by Guy Ritchie, and it is streaming on Apple TV+. So before we launch into the specifics of the movie, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a subscriber for Dan Reviews It already, thank you so much for that. Love it when you guys return to check out my stuff. But if you are new and not a subscriber, please consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell as well, so you get the alerts for all my drops. I do try to post just about every day, and of course, if you like this video or comment below, that helps the channel out tremendously as well. All right, so like I said, this is very much in the vein of the Indiana Jones films, National Treasure. You could throw Uncharted in there, Jungle Cruise, which starred John Krasinski's wife, Emily Blunt. Maybe he saw that and thought, hey, maybe I need an action adventure quest movie as well. So he signed on for this one. And not only is it him and Natalie Portman, but you've also got Eiza Gonzalez, Domhnall Gleeson, Ariane Moad, Laz Alonso, Stanley Tucci has a small role here. And essentially, they are estranged siblings, like I said. Krasinski plays Luke Perdue, who is a disgraced archaeologist. In the beginning of the film, he steals a painting from criminals in Thailand and foils, the people there. Finds himself in London, where his sister Charlotte is a museum curator, going through some troubles of her own. She is going through a divorce, so they team up and end up stealing, or Luke does, ends up stealing another painting from her museum, and so he gets her to help him flee, and they go on a quest from there, and they eventually realize they want to find the Fountain of Youth. That's their next journey, and so we have Guy Ritchie directing, and I'm real hit or miss on his films, to be honest. I think, some of them are too over the top. Some of them have really bad dialogue. Some of them have bad acting. This is sort of a combination of all of that. I will say, though, even in his worst films, the action sequences are still pretty good, if not great. In the really good ones, they're great. I think the action sequences are the best thing about this movie, but even then, they're not that good. There's some bad CGI. The set pieces are, not that inspired, things we've certainly seen before. And the casting of Natalie Portman, I didn't like it. I don't think she has any chemistry with John Krasinski at all as brother and sister, and I get that they're supposed to be estranged, but I just think she was woefully miscast in this film. And I like Natalie Portman, but this was just not the role for her. And look, the dialogue's not great anyway, so maybe that's part of it, but I just, not only did I not buy that they were estranged brother and sister, but I didn't really care about either one of them. And I certainly didn't care about the plethora of side characters, that some of them came and went, some of them, were tagging along, chasing the duo for the whole movie. But in all accounts, I was just like, I don't care about any of these people. I don't care if they find the Fountain of Youth. Yes, some of the action sequences are interesting enough to look at, I guess. There's probably too many of them, as Guy Ritchie is known to do, and because of that, maybe the backstory of the character suffers a little bit, because we're like, okay, let's put one more action sequence in here instead of spending 3 minutes learning about anything about these characters. So I didn't really love that either. But let's talk about the brief positives. I mentioned the action sequences. That is really the meat and potatoes of this movie, and why, if you enjoy it, you might enjoy it. The action sequences, even though, again, not great CGI, the set pieces are okay, but they're shot well. Guy Ritchie certainly knows his way around an action scene, and Krasinski is obviously a very adept action actor after, working in the Jack Ryan series and some of the other things he's done. He certainly can get that down. But everything else about this movie is sort of a miss, and it's a shame because it was written by James Vanderbilt, whose name I was not familiar with, but he worked on the Amazing Spider-Man. He co-wrote and produced the Scream reboot in 2022 and its sequel in 2023. And I like those movies, but the dialogue here is just I so didn't care about anything that was happening, and so I started to think about, okay, well, there's a lot of this type of quest movie. I've mentioned 5 or 6 of them already, and there's something that all of those sort of have in common. Even the more average ones, like let's say Uncharted. Okay, that wasn't a great movie. I think I probably gave it a C or maybe a C plus. But the chemistry between Tom Holland and was it Mark Wahlberg was in that movie was great. I enjoyed watching the two of them back and forth on screen. They looked like they were having a lot of fun. The action sequences were intense and thrilling, which I think works a little bit better on a big screen. I can see why Fountain of Youth didn't want to open this weekend against Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch. That makes sense. But to relegate this to Apple Plus, where I think the most thrilling thing about the movie is the action sequences, why wouldn't you want to put this in a big theater at least for a few weeks before you put it on streaming? I'm not sure. That really didn't add up to me because I'm not getting to see everything in probably all of its glory because I already don't care about anything else in the movie. The characters and again, Natalie Portman I think was miscast. So look, of all of these movies I mentioned, this one is below them for sure. Even an average one like Uncharted outpaces this one in almost every way. I leave Fountain of Youth with a D plus. But if you are so inclined, you can check it out now on Apple TV Plus. That will do it for now. Thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It, and I will see you next time. Bye.